Here is the proof of ownership and the title. I told you to stop moving. I don't want the papers. Get back in the car now!
Sir, you need to answer my questions right now. Do you understand the seriousness of this situation?
Get your hands where I can see them right now. Keep them up. Officer, I am complying. My license is right there on the hood.
The officer's hand stayed on the roof of the midnight blue sedan, while the black man in the worn navy jacket stood beside the open door. "Step away from the vehicle," he said, loud enough for the gas station to go silent. The man offered the registration, the title, even the old silver keychain with his wife's initials. Why did nobody look at it? Why did a quiet man with proof still end up treated like a suspect? And why did one rookie cop suddenly stop breathing when she read the name on the ignored ID? By sunset, a routine traffic stop would reach the highest courtroom in the state. What happened next would shake an entire courthouse. I said, "Step away from the vehicle." The command cut across the gas station at 2:17 p.m., stopping the squeak of the pump handle in Marcus Ellison's hand. Warm air carried gasoline and burnt coffee. The midnight blue sedan sat at pump 3, its hood catching white light. Marcus kept both palms open. "Officer, the title is in the glove box," he said. "Registration is in my left hand. My license is in my wallet." Officer Derek Hale did not look at the paper. His palm stayed on the roof. "Do not reach into the vehicle." "I'm not reaching." "You already were. I was getting the document you asked for." At pump 4, a woman stared over sunglasses. Near the window, Ben Alvarez held a phone loose in his hand. Rookie Officer Naomi Park stood behind Hale. "Sir," she said, "we can run the plate again. The screen was loading." Hale turned his eyes. "I've got this." Marcus lowered the registration. The paper trembled once in the breeze. "My daughter is waiting. May I call her and tell her I'll be late?" "No. It will take 10 seconds. You don't get to manage this stop." The sentence landed harder than the raised voice. 2 teenagers stopped laughing. The store door opened, spilling cold air and the bell's thin jingle. Nobody walked out. Marcus drew a slow breath. The collar of his jacket scratched his neck. "Then please read the name." Hale snatched the paper. "You think a printed name proves ownership?" "I think it is a start." "You always this calm when you're caught?" Naomi's pen stopped moving. Marcus looked past Hale, not at the watchers or the phones rising from hands, but at the small silver keychain hanging from the ignition key. 2 initials were engraved there. E.E., worn pale from years of thumb and pocket. "Officer," Marcus said, softer, "that car was my wife's last birthday gift to herself. Please don't lean on it." Hale glanced at his hand, then pressed harder. "Step back." Marcus took 1 step. The keyring slipped from the folder under his arm. It hit the asphalt with a bright little sound and bounced once against Hale's boot. For 1 second, the station heard only that. Ben lowered the phone. "Officer, I think he paid with a card matching—" "Stay inside," Hale barked. Ben froze. Behind the glass, the coffee machine hissed, filling a cup no one had placed beneath it. Naomi bent slightly, as if to pick up the keychain, then stopped when Hale's shoulder shifted. Marcus noticed. "Leave it." "It's on the ground," Naomi replied. "I see it." Hale stepped around the keychain. "Hands where I can see them. Full name?" "Marcus Ellison." "Address," Marcus gave it. "Occupation." A pause moved through the witnesses before Marcus spoke. "Public service?" Hale laughed once, dry and small. "That what we're calling it now?" Naomi looked toward the registration in Hale's hand, but his thumb covered the middle line. My ID is in my inside pocket, Marcus said. If you allow Officer Park to retrieve it, this can be clarified. Hale's jaw tightened. You don't give instructions here. No, Marcus said. I'm asking you to read. At Hale's boot, the silver keychain lay face up in a thin smear of oil, the crooked initials catching the light as Naomi's radio crackled with a call from dispatch. At 6:45 a.m., the coffee maker clicked twice and died before Marcus could pour a second cup. He stood in the narrow kitchen, listening to rain tap the screen. The air smelled of toast, lemon soap, and leather polish. His phone buzzed beside an invitation. Maya. He wiped his fingers on a towel. Good morning, counselor. I am not a counselor yet, Maya said, and no court voice today. This is Mom's scholarship ceremony, not oral argument. Marcus touched the invitation. The Elise Ellison Civic Promise Award. I remember what room I'm walking into. Do you have the speech? In my jacket. The blue suit? In the bedroom. Please tell me you're not wearing that old navy jacket. He looked at the chair by the back door. The jacket hung there, soft at the elbows. Calvin wants to check the left signal first. That car is older than my apartment building. She has better manners than most people in court. I'll change. A knock sounded at the side door. Calvin Reed, 61, stood under the awning in a brown work cap, shaking rain from his boots and holding a paper bag. Your mechanic is here, Marcus said. Tell Calvin he cannot make you late. Marcus opened the door. Cold, damp air slid over the tile. Maya says you're a bad influence. Calvin lifted the bag. Then she shouldn't eat these biscuits. Marcus put the call on speaker. Maya laughed, then grew quiet. Dad, bring the photo. He knew which one. I already have it. Not in the car. On you. The kitchen held still. Marcus crossed to the refrigerator, where a small photograph sat behind a peach-shaped magnet. Elise stood beside the sedan in a yellow scarf, Maya at 12 leaning against the door with braces and a stubborn grin. Marcus folded the photograph carefully, not through the faces, and slid it into the inside pocket of the worn navy jacket. The paper corner brushed the frayed lining. Maya's voice softened. Front row, Dad. Dean Morris saved you a seat. I'll be there. Before noon, with the speech. Yes, and without arguing about tires. The tires are fine, Calvin called. The child hears you, Maya said. Marcus gathered the invitation, his court ID, and the sedan's title from the stack near the toaster. He placed them in a folder. On top, he laid the speech, 3 pages, last line crossed out twice. Calvin noticed. Still changing it? I keep trying to make it less about loss. Maybe don't. At 7:12, Marcus stepped into the driveway. The midnight blue sedan waited under dripping dogwood branches. The metal was cold enough to sting. Calvin tested the signal. Tick, tick, tick. Amber light blinked against wet pavement. Loose ground wire, Calvin said. 5-minute fix. Then I have no excuse. You never did. Marcus opened the driver's door. The leather creaked, and the silver keychain swung from the ignition, EA catching pale morning light. He touched the initials before starting the engine. Maya spoke again, through the phone. Dad? Yes? She would have liked today. Marcus looked at the empty passenger seat. I know. He ended the call only after Maya did, then placed the phone beside the folder, unaware both would soon be trapped behind glass while her name kept lighting the screen. At 7:31 a.m., Officer Derek Hale slammed the patrol car door hard enough to make the half-full coffee jump in its plastic cup. A brown ring splashed onto the console. The garage smelled of wet tires, floor wax, and burnt grounds. Hale stared at the stain as if it had spoken first. Naomi Park stood by the passenger side with her notebook under one arm. "I can clean that before we roll." "I didn't ask you to." "No, sir. You also don't have to answer every silence." She closed her mouth. Rainwater ran down the bay doors in crooked lines. Sergeant Paula Merritt came out carrying a tablet and a yellow envelope. "Hale, conference room. Park, you too." Inside, the air conditioner hummed too cold for spring. A poster about community trust peeled at one corner. Merritt set the envelope on the table. "You got another complaint," she said. Hale leaned back. "From yesterday?" "From last month. Citizen says you refused to explain a stop." "I explained it." "You told him, because I said so." He kept asking the same question. Merritt's wedding ring turned under her thumb. "City Council asked for our stop data twice this quarter. Rachel Kim called at 6 this morning." Naomi wrote the name down. Hale noticed. "You taking minutes now?" "I'm keeping track of assignments." "Your assignment is visibility," Merritt said. "Not drama. We need clean reports, clear reasons, no recordings that make us look careless. So you want me soft? I want you smart." A phone vibrated on the table. Merritt glanced at the screen and let it buzz out. Naomi saw the caller, Sekretariat. Kim. "People call about us doing nothing," Hale said. "Then complain when we do something." "People complain when we make the wrong thing easy," Naomi said. Both officers looked at her. "At Academy, they said documentation protects us," she added. Hale gave a dry laugh. "Academy still has working coffee too?" Merritt did not correct him. "Park, you observe. Hale leads. If a stop goes sideways, radio me before it turns public." "Yes, Sergeant." Merritt slid the yellow envelope closer. "Read it. Sign acknowledgement." He took a pen and tore the paper near his name. At 8:06, they pulled from the precinct. Rain had thinned into mist. Coffee trembled in the holder each time Hale tapped the brakes. Naomi buckled in. "Do you want me to run plates on East Corridor?" "You want to run plates. Run plates." "I'm trying to help." "You're trying to prove you belong." She looked at the laptop glow. "Maybe both." For 2 blocks, only the wipers spoke. Dispatch crackled with a stalled truck near the bridge. Hale answered none of it. His thumb rubbed the torn edge of the complaint envelope. Then Merritt's voice came through their unit radio. "Car 12, respond to Fairhaven Fuel on Mercer Road. Caller reports suspicious mail around a high-value vehicle. Possible stolen car. No confirmation. Approach and assess." Naomi reached for the computer. "Running location now." Hale set the cup into the holder, but his hand hit it wrong. Coffee quivered up the sides without spilling. "Finally," he said. Naomi looked at the word, pending, blinking on the screen, then at the envelope crease cutting across his signature as the patrol car turned toward Mercer Road. At 2:04 p.m., dispatch broke through the patrol car speakers. "Car 12, caller reports a suspicious man around a blue classic sedan at Fairhaven Fuel. No stolen hit in system." Naomi typed fast. "No stolen hit." Hale turned onto Mercer Road. Old coffee clung to the vents. "Caller saw enough to call." "Caller saw a man near a car." "Park." "Yes, sir." The station sat between a laundromat and a flower shop, its canopy buzzing in the heat. Pump 3 held the midnight blue sedan, clouds sliding across its hood. Marcus stood beside it with the nozzle in his hand and his phone tucked between shoulder and ear. "Dad?" Maya's voice came faintly. "I'm 10 minutes away," Marcus said. The patrol car rolled in behind him. Marcus placed the phone on the passenger seat beside the folder. Maya's name still glowed. He reached toward the glove box before Hale had fully stepped out. "Keep your hands where I can see them." Marcus stopped with the door open. Heat rose from asphalt. A freezer rattled inside the store. "My registration is in the glove box. Step away from the vehicle." "I will. May I close the door first?" "Leave it." Naomi read the plate. Hale repeated it into his radio. The open door released warm leather and old paper. Dispatch came back unevenly. "Plate returns to a Marcus. Stand by. System lagging. Ownership pending." Naomi glanced at the laptop. "It's loading." Hale kept his eyes on Marcus. "Who does this car belong to?" "Me." "Full name." "Marcus Ellison." "You have proof?" "In the car." "That's convenient." Marcus looked at the folder. "Officer, if Officer Park stands by the door, I can point to each document without touching anything else." "You don't direct my scene." Ben Alvarez stepped from the store. "Everything okay out here?" "Back inside," Hale said. Ben noticed the receipt under the wiper. "He just paid. I said inside." Marcus lifted one hand toward Ben. Naomi saw the gesture and the silver keychain in the ignition, swinging with 2 worn initials. "Sir," she said, "we can wait for the return." Hale moved closer. "You borrowed it? Friend's car? Employer's car?" "My car." "Then explain why the system can't confirm it." Marcus watched the laptop through the windshield. The word pending pulsed gray. "Systems are slower than people sometimes." "You think this is funny?" "No." "Then stop answering like you're above the question." A paper cup rolled under the sedan and stopped at Hale's boot. Marcus's phone lit again on the passenger seat. Maya calling. He looked once. "Officer, my daughter is waiting at a public event. May I tell her I've been stopped?" "No." "She will worry." "She can wait." Naomi's pen hovered. "Sergeant Merritt asked us to radio if a stop turns public." Hale cut her off with his shoulder. "This isn't public." Behind the window, Ben stood with the receipt. Across the street, Mrs. Evelyn Porter watched from the flower shop doorway, phone pressed to her chest. Dispatch crackled again. "Car 12. Return still pending. Possible records merge. Hold for update." Hale heard only the first half. His hand moved toward the sedan roof as Marcus kept his eyes on the phone glowing behind glass, then on the folder he could no longer reach. Hale's hand landed on the sedan roof with a flat metal thud. Marcus did not move. Heat under the canopy pressed fuel fumes and hot rubber against his face. Inside the store, the doorbell gave one weak ring, then stopped. "Turn around," Hale said. "For what purpose?" "For investigation. You have my name. You have my plate. The system says pending, not stolen." Hale lifted the registration. "You don't get to translate dispatch for me." Naomi stepped closer. "Officer Hale, the document lists Marcus Ellison. Same first and last." His thumb covered the middle line. "I can read." "Then read it aloud," Marcus said. Everyone at Pump 3 heard him. Behind the glass, Ben Alvarez held the receipt. Coffee dripped from the machine behind him, overflowing a cup until brown liquid crawled across the counter. A customer whispered, "Is that his car?" Ben said, "He paid." "Then say something." Ben opened the door 6 inches. Cold air spilled around his shoes. "Officer, the payment name matches the—" Hale turned so fast, Naomi flinched. "Inside. Now." Ben stepped back, the receipt shaking once, and the door closed. Marcus moved his hands farther from his body, palms open. "Hands higher," Hale said. "They are visible." "Higher." Marcus raised them. The old jacket pulled at his shoulders. In the passenger seat, his phone lit again. Maya's name bright against glass. Naomi's radio clicked. Car 12, status? Hale pressed his mic. Possible stolen vehicle. Subject uncooperative. That is not accurate, Marcus said. You refuse to comply. I refuse nothing. I asked you to read. Naomi wrote that down. The registration, receipt, and his statement all match so far, she said. Hale turned. So far? Yes, sir. That's your conclusion? That's an observation. A small crowd formed near the ice machine. Mrs. Porter stood across the street, no longer hiding her phone. The canopy light flickered. Merritt's voice came through Hale's radio. Car 12, update. Hale answered. Male claiming ownership. Plate return unresolved. I'm securing the scene. Naomi leaned toward her mic. Documents appear consistent. Request permission to verify by VIN. A hard pause followed. Merritt came back. Park. Hale leads. Keep the scene controlled. Hale's mouth tightened. Copy. Marcus lowered his voice. May I retrieve my court identification from my inside pocket? Hale laughed once. Court identification? It is in my left inside pocket. Officer Park can remove it. A card that says you're important? Marcus's eyes flicked to the silver keychain by the ignition. Elise's initials half hidden by the steering column. It says who I am, he said. Hale stepped closer. Right now, you are a man standing next to a car I can't clear. Naomi looked toward the door. Sir, if we check the VIN? Enough. Inside, Ben smoothed the receipt. Coffee soaked the corner. The ink blurred around Marcus's printed name. Hale folded the registration. We're going to slow this down. Marcus looked at the receipt, then at Naomi's pen paused over her notebook. It was already slow, he said. That is the problem. The phone behind the windshield lit again, but Maya's call went unanswered until the screen went dark. My identification is not a performance, Marcus said. Hale's eyes narrowed. Then stop presenting it like one. The canopy hummed overhead, a trapped electric sound over fuel fumes and hot asphalt. Marcus kept his left hand open and lifted his right toward the inside of his jacket. Naomi spoke quickly. Sir, let me retrieve it. Nobody asked you. He gave consent. I said nobody asked you. Marcus let his hand fall. The jacket lining brushed the folded photograph against his ribs. Officer Park can take the wallet. Slowly. Hale gave a thin smile. You keep choosing her name like it means something. She has shown interest in the documents. Behind the store window, Ben held the damp receipt. Naomi took one step. For the record, he is offering another form of identification. For the record, Hale said, he is trying to control the stop. I am trying to verify, Marcus said. Hale pointed at the hood. Wallet. 2 fingers. Marcus moved slowly. The leather was soft from years of use. He opened it with both hands visible and slid out a slim black ID holder. The gold seal caught the light. Naomi inhaled. Hale took the holder, glanced only at its edge, and slapped it onto the hood face down. Every witness turned toward the small sound. Don't start with props, he said. Marcus looked at the card. One corner of the seal showed under Hale's thumb. You have not read it. I don't need a fancy card to know what I'm seeing. It is not fancy. The hood was hot enough that the plastic edge began to curl. Marcus wanted to wipe the paint and lift the keychain from the oil near Hale's boot. He did neither. Naomi's pen scratched once. Hale heard it. What did you write? That the ID was placed on the hood. Write that I secured it. Her pen paused. Placed on the hood. Merritt's voice cracked through the radio. Car 12, I need a clean status. Hale pressed the mic. Subject provided questionable identification. Marcus lifted his eyes. Questionable because you questioned it, or because you read it. Hale stepped close enough for Marcus to smell mint gum over gasoline. Hands behind your back. Naomi shifted. For what charge? Interference? He has not interfered. Marcus turned his palms outward again. I will comply with lawful instructions. Please read the name first. Hale touched the corner of the ID as if he might finally flip it. Naomi leaned forward. Then he stopped. No, he said. We can sort the fairy tale at the station. Ben opened the store door, receipt raised. Officer, the payment name matches? Close that door. The bell above Ben trembled after the door shut. Marcus looked at Naomi. You saw the seal. She did not answer at once. I saw enough to verify. Then verify. Hale turned on her. Touch that card and explain to Merritt why you compromised my stop. Naomi's fingers bent the pen until the plastic clicked. Marcus's phone lit inside the sedan. Maya's name filled the screen, then dimmed. Hale picked up the ID face down and tucked it into the folder without looking. Hands behind your back, he repeated. Marcus looked down at the silver keychain, the initials EEE dulled by oil, and nodded once as if answering someone who was not there. The cuffs closed with a sound smaller than Marcus expected. One click, then another. Cold metal tightened around his wrists, and heat of the gas station seemed to move away. Hale's hand settled between his shoulder blades, enough to tell everyone who owned the moment. Marcus kept his chin level. Officer, I will walk where you tell me. Good choice. But I am asking you again to read the identification. Hale leaned near his ear. You're done asking. Naomi stood by the hood, the folder under Hale's arm, the face-down ID inside it like a door nobody would open. The silver keychain lay near the front tire, black oil touching the engraved EE. Officer Hale, she said, we should document the reason for restraints. We have a suspicious vehicle, questionable ID, and a subject refusing direction. He did not refuse direction. You want to take over? No, sir. Then stop narrating. Marcus's phone vibrated against the passenger seat. Maya's name lit the screen. May I have my phone placed on speaker? No. She is expecting me. Then she'll learn you're busy. Ben stood behind the glass with the damp receipt in his hand. Nobody crossed the threshold. Naomi's voice dropped. Sir, refusing one call may look unnecessary. Hale guided Marcus toward the patrol car. You writing policy now? I'm thinking about the report. Think quieter. The back door opened with a rubber groan. The seat smelled of vinyl, dust, and old disinfectant. Marcus bent carefully, the cuffs pulling his shoulders tight. Before he sat, he looked at the sedan. Please don't leave the keychain on the ground. Hale gave a dry laugh. That's your concern? Yes. For the first time, Naomi moved without asking. She crouched and picked it up by the clean edge. Oil streaked her thumb. Hale's jaw set, but the crowd had seen her do it. Put it in evidence, he said. It's a personal item, she answered. It's part of the vehicle. Marcus sat down slowly. The metal bit when his hands met the hard plastic behind him. Officer Park, thank you. Naomi held the keychain for half a second, then placed it on the front passenger seat instead of the trunk. Dispatch crackled. Car 12, status on return? Hale took the mic. One detained, transporting for verification. Naomi looked toward the laptop. Return still pending. No stolen confirmation. Hale cut the mic. Noted. The door shut beside Marcus. Outside, sound flattened. The crowd became shapes through tinted glass. Marcus could see his own sedan, driver's door still open, his folder gone from the passenger seat. His phone lit again. Maya calling. The screen glowed between the steering wheel and a stack of papers, close enough to read, too far to answer. Hale got into the driver's seat. Seatbelt. Marcus shifted his cuffed hands. I cannot reach it. Naomi opened the opposite door and leaned in. The buckle clicked across his chest. I'm sorry, she whispered. Marcus looked at the keychain on the front seat. Read the card before you apologize. She straightened. Hale started the engine. As the patrol car pulled away, the gas station bell rang once behind them. Ben finally stepped outside with the soaked receipt, but the sedan's phone had already gone dark. At 2:34 p.m., the first row of the college auditorium had one empty chair and one white card with Marcus Ellison printed in black letters. Maya stood beside it, thumb moving over her phone. The room smelled of floor polish, lilies, and fresh programs. Students whispered under buzz of lights. Dean Angela Morris, 55, crossed the aisle. Maya, we can give him 5 more minutes. He answered at 1:38, Maya said. He said 10 minutes. Maybe traffic on Mercer. My father calls when he is late. Jonah Price, 24, held his speech. I can start with acknowledgments. Thank you, Jonah. Her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She answered before the second buzz. Dad? This is Ben from Fairhaven Fuel. I don't want to alarm you. What happened? There was a stop. Police. Your father was calm. He asked to call you. Maya gripped the empty chair. The metal edge was cold through her palm. Was he hurt? No. They took him to Central Precinct. I have the receipt. His name matched. I should have said more. When the call ended, the white name card slid from the chair and landed face up on the carpet. Across town, Marcus sat on a plastic chair under a vent, pushing cold air against his collar. His wrists had been freed, but red marks stayed where cuffs had been. On a desk 10 feet away, his folder lay beneath blank forms. My documents, Marcus said. May I have them reviewed now? The intake officer did not look up. Sergeant will get to it. She has not come in. She knows you're here. Marcus looked at the wall clock. I am scheduled to speak at a public ceremony. Then somebody should have driven slower. A woman nearby turned her head, then looked down at her shoes. Marcus's phone sat in a gray property tray beyond the counter. It vibrated once. The screen lit with Maya's name and went dark. May I answer that? No phones in processing. I have not been processed. The officer's pen stopped. You want to be? Marcus let the question pass. The air smelled of disinfectant and old paper. Behind a door, a printer jammed, grinding the same sound. At 2:48, Maya faced Dean Morris in the aisle with her coat over her arm. What do you need? The dean asked. My father was taken to Central Precinct. Jonah lowered his pages. Taken? I'm going there. We can postpone. No? Maya looked at the banner bearing her mother's name. My mother hated empty rooms. What should I tell them? Maya picked up the white card and pressed it flat between her palms. Tell them the truth. Justice Ellison has been delayed. The word justice moved through the front row like a match struck in darkness. Back at the precinct, Sergeant Merritt walked past with Hale behind her. She saw Marcus, then the folder, then the tray. Why is he still out here? She asked. No room open, the intake officer said. Marcus stood. Sergeant, my identification and vehicle title are in that folder. I would like them read. Merritt did not touch it. We are verifying. You are storing, Hale muttered. Still giving orders. Marcus turned only his eyes toward him. Still asking for reading. The folder remained where it was, its corner lifted by the vent, fluttering like a page trying to turn itself. The folder lifted in the draft from the vent. Naomi waited until the intake officer left for water. Hale and Merritt were behind the sergeant's door. Marcus sat under the cold air, eyes on the gray tray where his phone lay dark. "I need to finish the verification log," Naomi said. The officer shrugged. "Log whatever keeps this from coming back on me." She took the folder. Registration, title, coffee blurred receipt, black ID holder. Marcus did not call out. He only looked at her. Naomi carried everything into a report room smelling of toner and old carpet. The fluorescent tube flickered above a scratch table. She left the door unlatched. She turned the ID over. The gold seal caught beneath her fingertip, raised and clean against the black card. Her finger stopped there, not because the words were unclear, but because they were too clear. State Supreme Court of Georgia. Justice. Marcus A. Ellison. Naomi set the ID beside the registration. Marcus A. Ellison. The title, Marcus Andrew Ellison. The receipt, Ems Ellison. Same address, same car. The plate return still blinked pending. She opened the court directory. A portrait loaded. The same calm face, gray at the temples, in a black robe instead of a worn navy jacket. A knock hit the door. Hale's voice came through. "What are you doing?" "Verification log." "We already logged it." "Not completely." "Open up." Naomi looked at her fingertip on the gold seal. Then she dialed the number printed on the card. "Judicial Administration," a woman answered. "This is Officer Naomi Park, Fairhaven Police. I need to verify a court ID for Marcus Ellison." A pause. "You mean Judge Ellison?" Naomi swallowed. "Justice Ellison." The tone changed. "Where is he?" "At Central Precinct." "Why?" "A vehicle ownership investigation." "He was what?" "I need confirmation." The ID ends in 492. The seal is gold. Middle initial A. Emergency contact, Maya Ellison. Papers moved. "Hold." Hale knocked. "Park." She opened the door. "I'm on a verification call." "With who?" "The court." His face changed. "Hang up." "I can't." "You can." "No, sir." The word sat between them. A new voice came on. "This is Helen Brooks. State your name again." "Officer Naomi Park." "Put your supervisor on." "Sergeant Merritt is unavailable." "Make her available." Justice Marcus Andrew Ellison was scheduled to speak at the Elise Ellison Civic Promise Ceremony at 2:30. We have been trying to reach him. Naomi looked past Hale. Marcus sat in the waiting area, watching the tray where his phone had gone dark. "He asked to call his daughter," Naomi said. "Was he allowed?" Her mouth went dry. "No." Helen Brooks said, "Do not move him. Do not release his documents to anyone except your chief or my office. I am contacting the court administrator now." Hale pushed the door wider. "Give me the phone." Naomi tapped her body cam awake. The red light blinked once, then again. "Clerk Brooks," she said, keeping her hand on the ID seal. "Please repeat that for the recording." Hale stopped at the threshold. Through the speaker, every word came crisp and cold. "This is an official verification. The man in your precinct is Justice Marcus Andrew Ellison of the State Supreme Court." Hale did not enter the room after Helen Brooks said the title. The red body cam light blinked against Naomi's vest. The room seemed smaller around the table, folders, toner smell, and buzz of fluorescent glass. "Officer Park," Helen said through the speaker, "is Justice Ellison free to leave?" Naomi looked at the open door. Hale's hand rested there. "He is seated in processing. His phone and papers were taken. Was he arrested? Hale cut in. Detained for verification. State your name. Officer Derek Hale. Officer Hale, why was his judicial identification not read at the scene? Hale reached for the phone. Naomi pulled it back. Don't. That's my call. It's my verification. In the hallway, Marcus turned his head, but did not stand. Sergeant Merritt came from her office. What is happening? The court verified him, Naomi said. Verified what? Helen answered. This is Helen Brooks with Judicial Administration. I need Police Chief Alan Mercer immediately. Merritt stepped closer. We are conducting a standard vehicle inquiry. A standard inquiry does not usually prevent a sitting justice from calling his daughter. The room went still. Hale said, We had a suspicious vehicle report. Naomi pointed to the papers. Title, registration, receipt, and court ID all match. Merritt's gaze dropped to the body cam light. Why is that on? I was asked to document verification. No one asked you to record a supervisor conversation. Helen's voice sharpened. Please do not turn that camera off. Merritt's phone rang. Once, twice. She answered on the third ring. Central Precinct, Sergeant Merritt. Naomi heard pieces. Yes, Chief. The court is on the line. No, sir, he has not been released. Hale stared at the ID as if the gold seal had become a stain. Merritt returned. Chief Mercer wants the folder in his office. Now. Naomi gathered the documents. I'll bring them. I said the folder. Naomi did not let go. Chain of custody. Hale laughed once, but it cracked. Now she's a lawyer. Marcus stood beside the plastic chair, the vent lifting his jacket. She is preserving the record. No one answered. Chief Alan Mercer arrived 7 minutes later in shirt sleeves, tie loose, rain on his glasses. Behind him came Vivian Shaw, the court administrator, in a charcoal suit, silver hair pinned tight. Where is Justice Ellison? Mercer asked. Marcus stepped forward. Here. The chief's mouth opened, then closed. Justice Ellison, Please return my phone first. Mercer looked at Merritt. She lifted the gray tray with fingers tapping the plastic edge. Marcus unlocked the warm phone. 6 from Maya, 2 from Dean Morris, 1 from Chambers. Vivian saw the screen. Your daughter is still at the ceremony. Marcus pressed call. The hallway listened to ringing. Maya answered on the first breath. Dad? I'm here, he said. I am all right. Where is here? Central Precinct. Are you coming? Marcus looked at the folder in Naomi's hands, at Hale avoiding the body cam light, at Mercer's face losing color. Soon. When he lowered the phone, Mercer said, We are going to correct this immediately. Marcus slipped the phone into his pocket. Start by reading every page you ignored. Mercer opened the folder with both hands, as if the pages had weight beyond paper. The hallway clock clicked above them. Cold air pushed at Marcus's collar, and behind the counter a printer began its dry chatter. Registration, title, receipt, judicial ID. Mercer lifted the black holder. Justice Marcus A. Ellison, State Supreme Court of Georgia. The words reached the intake desk, the plastic chairs, the doorway where Hale stood with one hand closed around nothing. Naomi's body cam light blinked red against her vest. Marcus did not speak. Merritt cleared her throat. Justice Ellison, there appears to have been a records delay. Marcus looked at the folder. The delay was not the problem. Mercer turned. Remove him from detention status. He was never booked, Merritt said. Then make the record say exactly what happened. At what time? Naomi asked. Now. At the property counter, An officer slid the gray tray forward. Marcus took his phone, wallet, folded speech, and the photograph from his jacket lining. He paused over the empty corner. My keychain. Naomi moved first. It's in Unit 12. Get it, Mercer said. Hale straightened. I can. No, Marcus said. Naomi returned from the rain with the silver keychain on a clean cloth. One edge was scratched. Oil had darkened the grooves around Elise's initials. Marcus took it carefully. His thumb rubbed the E once, then stopped at the fresh nick. I have to call my daughter, Maya answered before the first ring finished. Dad? I'm here. Dean Morris is holding everyone. I told them you were delayed. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Are you alone? Marcus glanced at the officers, the red light, the open papers. No? Are you safe? The question sat in the hallway longer than it should have. Yes, he said. I'm standing. Maya breathed through the speaker. They called you Justice Ellison from the podium. People stood up. Tell Dean Morris to begin. No. We waited for Mom's chair every year. We can wait for yours. Marcus closed his eyes for 1 second. When he opened them, Hale was staring at the body cam. I will come as soon as I can, Marcus said. Bring the speech. I still have it. And Dad? Yes? Don't let them make this small. Marcus folded the photograph into his pocket. I won't. The call ended. No one moved. Mercer said, Justice Ellison, the department will issue an apology. Marcus slipped the damaged keychain into his palm. Not before the facts. Merritt's voice thinned. We can discuss language after review. Language did not put cuffs on me. Decisions did. Hale spoke. I had a suspicious report. Marcus turned toward him. And documents. The system was pending. And my name was present. You wouldn't stop talking. Marcus held up the folder. I asked to be read. Naomi's camera caught the words. Hale noticed the red light again, and this time his mouth closed. Mercer looked at Naomi. Secure that footage. Yes, Chief. Marcus buttoned his worn jacket, the scratched keychain hidden in his fist. Outside, rain tapped the glass. Vivian opened the door for him. The car is still at the gas station. Marcus stepped toward the afternoon. Then we start where they stopped listening. The city council chamber smelled of floor wax and damp wool. At 9:10 a.m., every seat was full. Rain tapped the tall windows. The witness microphones gave off a faint hiss. Marcus sat beside Maya, the scratched keychain closed in his palm. Denise Holloway, 63, chair of the board, adjusted glasses on a chain. This is an administrative hearing, she said. Not a trial, not a performance. We review facts. Near the aisle, Nora King, 41, a reporter with copper hair tucked behind one ear, held a recorder. Mr. Alvarez, Denise said. Ben rose in his faded work shirt. At the table, he reached for the microphone, missed it, then adjusted the stem with trembling fingers. State your name. Benjamin Alvarez, afternoon manager at Fairhaven Fuel. What did you observe? Ben swallowed. He paid for gas with a card. The receipt printed M. Ellison. When the officer asked for proof, he had papers. I saw the name match. Did you tell anyone? I tried. Ben looked at Marcus, then down at the mic. I opened the door. Officer Hale told me to go inside. Why did you comply? The rain touched glass harder. Because he had the badge, and I thought somebody else would read the paper. Denise turned a page. Officer Park. Naomi stood. Her chair legs scraped. Tell us what you did. I ran the plate. The system showed pending, not stolen. I noted that the registration matched Mr. Ellison's name. I requested permission to verify the VIN and judicial ID. And what happened? I was told Officer Hale led the stop. At the station, I reviewed the documents myself and called judicial administration. Merritt leaned forward. Officer Park acted outside the chain of command. Naomi looked at her. I acted inside the paperwork. A murmur moved through the chamber. Hale leaned toward his microphone. We received a suspicious vehicle call. The subject was evasive and argumentative. My decisions were based on training and instinct. Marcus opened his hand. The keychain had left a crescent in his palm. Denise nodded to the technician. Play body cam segment 3. The screen lit. Gas station glare filled the wall. Marcus's recorded voice came clear. Then please read the name. Hale's voice followed. You don't give instructions here. The video jumped. Marcus again. Officer Park can take the wallet, slowly. Hale. Don't start with props. Then, may I have my phone placed on speaker? No. She is expecting me. She can wait. Maya's hand tightened around her program until the paper bent. Marcus placed his other hand over hers. When the lights came back up, Denise removed her glasses. Officer Hale, point to the evasive conduct. Hale's mouth opened. Nothing came first. Merritt said, the scene was fluid. Denise looked at her. Fluid does not mean unread. Nora King wrote that down. Chief Mercer leaned toward his microphone. The department accepts documentation was mishandled. Marcus stood. The chamber quieted without being asked. I do not need the room to be loud for me, he said. I need it accurate. Denise nodded once. Then we will continue with the full recording. On the screen, the red body cam light appeared in the sedan hood's reflection, blinking beside the face-down ID. The final recording ended with a click too small for the room. Rain had stopped outside. Gray light lay on the chamber windows, and wet coats smelled sour in the aisle. Denise Holloway folded her hands. Officer Hale, you were told 3 times that documents matched. Hale's chair creaked. I was managing risk. You were handed proof. Naomi sat 2 seats away. The stop stayed unresolved because the papers were not read. Thomas Keene, 50, Hale's union representative, shifted his folder. My client acted under pressure. Marcus looked at him. Reading is not hindsight. Chief Mercer placed a report on the table. Failure to verify documents. Failure to permit reasonable contact. Improper escalation. Inaccurate radio characterization. Merritt's fingers tightened around her pen. Chief, I was not at the pump. You were on the radio, Mercer said, and in processing. I relied on Hale's assessment. Denise turned a page. After Officer Park reported consistent documents, you told her to keep the scene controlled. Merritt looked toward Naomi. I should have asked what she meant. Hale exhaled. So now everyone remembers the perfect sentence. Marcus touched the keychain in his pocket, feeling the scratch across Elise's initials. No, we remember the sentence no one said. Denise lifted the report. Officer Derek Hale is placed on administrative suspension pending discipline. Sergeant Paula Merritt is relieved of shift command pending review. The words moved through the chamber. Keene whispered to Hale, sign receipt, not admission. A clerk slid the protocol across the table. Hale's fingers hovered, then took the pen. The tip touched down, lifted, touched again. Derek Hale appeared slowly, unevenly, the K cut too hard through the line. Marcus watched the signature, not the man. Merritt signed next, almost hidden at the margin. Chief Mercer faced Marcus. Justice Ellison, the department will prepare a public summary. A summary can choose what to leave out. The public saw the stop. The public should see the findings. Confidentiality rules matter. Keene said. Redaction rules exist, Marcus said. Publish what can be published. Explain what cannot. Mercer nodded. We can release the timeline, violations, corrective steps, and body cam excerpts. All excerpts that show the refusals. Hale's pen rolled from his fingers. You want my career. Marcus turned to him. I wanted my name read. No one filled the room after that. Denise cleared her throat. The board recommends publication within 10 business days and review of prior complaints involving similar language or documentation issues. Naomi glanced up. The yellow complaint envelope from that morning seemed to rustle open in memory. Mercer signed the findings. We'll comply. At the aisle, Ben Alvarez twisted a folded receipt copy. Justice Ellison, I'm sorry I stopped at the door. Marcus looked at his rough hands. Next time, bring the paper all the way out. Outside, sunlight struck the wet courthouse steps. Marcus took the keychain from his pocket. The oil was gone, but the new scratch stayed bright. Behind him, Hale's uneven signature dried on the protocol, while Denise asked for the first draft of the new procedure. The first draft of the new procedure arrived on Marcus's desk with the wrong word in the title. Compliance. He read it at 7:20 a.m. in Central Precinct's conference room, where blinds cut sunlight across the table. The air smelled of marker ink and coffee. Naomi Park sat beside Ben Alvarez in his gas station shirt. Chief Mercer cleared his throat. The city attorney prefers compliance protocol. Marcus closed the folder. Compliance asks what a citizen failed to do. Training Director Grace Lowell, 44, leaned forward. What would you call it? Verification before escalation. Ben glanced at the officers along the wall. That sounds less like a warning. It is one, Marcus said, for the person with power. Mercer tapped his pen. We can add a reading requirement. Officer states the name aloud and confirms whether it matches. Not can, Marcus said. Must. Grace underlined the word. A patrolman by the door shifted. What if the scene is unsafe? Then document why reading was impossible, Marcus said. Not inconvenient. Impossible. Naomi looked up. And if someone asks to call family? A verification call log, Grace said. Granted, delayed, or denied. Reason required. Ben lifted his hand, then dropped it. Marcus noticed. Mr. Alvarez. Ben rubbed a crease in his sleeve. People like me don't know when we're allowed to speak. Grace uncapped a marker. Civilian Observation Channel, she said, writing on the board. Receipts, recordings, witness statements. No retaliation. Build it where people can find it, Marcus said. By noon, the training room had filled. A sign leaned against the front wall, wrapped in plastic. Read the name before you judge the person. Naomi helped Grace lift it. The plastic crackled. Mercer faced the officers. This policy begins today as an interim order. One officer muttered, because of one stop. Marcus heard him. He walked to the front. The scratched silver keychain rested in his palm. Not because of one stop, he said. Because one stop showed us the weak place. The officer lowered his eyes. Marcus set the keychain beside the procedure. I am not asking you to treat important people carefully. I am asking you to stop deciding who is important before you read. Naomi's fingers tightened behind her back. Grace pointed to the handout. Every document presented during a stop must be reviewed when safe. The officer states the name aloud. If rejected, the rejection is recorded with a specific reason. Ben raised his hand. And witnesses? Grace nodded. A witness can submit information by the posted number or QR code. Officers may control space, not erase facts. The sign was mounted at 2:06 p.m. A drill buzzed against plaster. dust floated in the white light. When the last screw tightened, the room went quiet. Mercer stood beside Marcus. "Will this satisfy you?" Marcus looked at Naomi reading the wall, then at Ben smoothing his receipt copy. "It is not meant to satisfy me." Ben asked, "Then who?" Marcus picked up the keychain. The scratch flashed once and disappeared under his thumb. "The next person standing beside their own car." Outside the open door, officers began lining up to sign the training roster, and Naomi wrote her name first. 3 months later, the auditorium doors opened without anyone checking the front row twice. Maya stood beneath the banner for the Elise Ellison Civic Promise Award, her dark green dress catching soft stage light. Programs rustled. The room smelled of lilies, but the empty chair was gone. Marcus sat in it, hands folded over a small envelope, old navy jacket across his knees. Dean Morris leaned toward the microphone. "This year's recipient is Jonah Price." Jonah stepped up in a suit with one crease in the sleeve. When Maya handed him the certificate, his eyes dropped to Elise Ellison's name, printed above his own. "I thought law was for people who already knew how to be heard," he said. "Then I watched someone stay steady while everyone else had a louder room." Maya's hand tightened around the next envelope, but she smiled. After the applause, Marcus found her beside the lobby windows. Rain had polished the parking lot into gray glass. "You made it," she said. "I was not going to miss it twice." She took his hand and opened his palm. The scratched silver keychain lay there, cleaned but not repaired. EE was still visible, one letter crossed by the mark from the pavement. "I want it," Maya said. "For your mother's car?" "For mine." She lifted a new key from her pocket. "I passed the bar. I also learned not to wait for permission to drive." Marcus let the keychain fall into her hand. "Keep it where you can reach it." Across town, the public report went online at noon. It listed times, refusals, mismatched statements, and corrective orders without soft words. Officer Derek Hale resigned before his discipline hearing finished. His certification was placed under state review, and prior complaints were reopened. Sergeant Paula Merritt was removed from shift command and assigned away from patrol while she completed retraining and supervisory review. No one cheered in the room where those decisions were read. Naomi Park sat at the back, uniform pressed, notebook closed. When Chief Mercer asked if she had anything to add, she said, "Only that the policy worked because someone outside the chain saw the paper." Ben Alvarez attended the first civilian observer training in a shirt with the gas station logo turned inside out. At the practice table, he placed a receipt in front of an instructor and did not step back. "Say it clearly," Grace Lowell told him. Ben looked at the officers. "The name matches." Nora King's article came out the following Sunday. It did not make Marcus a hero or the department a monster. It named the delay, the silence at the pumps, the body cam light, and the sentence above the training room door. Read the name before you judge the person. In chambers, Marcus clipped the article beside a copy of the new procedure. Vivian Shaw brought a folder of letters from people across Georgia who had once stood beside something they owned, earned, or loved, and still had to prove they belonged to it. "You don't have to answer them all," she said. Marcus touched the first envelope. "No, but someone should read them." That evening, Maya drove him to the college in her own car. The keychain swung from the ignition, tapping with every turn. At the curb, Marcus looked at the auditorium lights, then at his daughter's hands on the wheel. Elise's initials moved in the quiet air. The parking lot held the last gold of the day. If this story reminded you of a moment when someone was judged before they were heard, share it in the comments. Your experience may help another person recognize the same silence, the same hesitation, or the same need to speak up before it is too late. Share this story with someone who believes dignity is not something people should have to prove, and that justice is strongest when it changes the system, not just one outcome. Subscribe for more stories about quiet resilience, fair consequences, and the people who refuse to let power erase the truth. Sometimes the smallest document, the smallest witness, or the smallest act of courage can change everything.